Hello!
And welcome to
The Family Bobbadenya!
Hi.
Hello.
We're in our talkie spot.
Uh-oh.
That must mean one thing.
Look out. He's going to speak.
We're going to talk about things.
Yay!
What are we going to talk about today, Bob?
Well, we just finished our vlogs. We're not just back, but we can pretend we're just back from our cruise on the Disney Magic. We went to Lighthouse Point twice. So we thought we would compare Lighthouse Point to Castaway Cay.
Lookout Cay versus Castaway Cay.
So we have Lighthouse.
We're neutral.
Castaway. Both supporting. You know which one we're going to choose?
Who knows?
Who knows? Anyway, so things that are the same, things that are different, things we like better than other ones, coming up after this intro.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. It's the biggest thing that everyone talks about.
The elephant. There's a massive elephant on Lighthouse Point, and it runs around.
There's one on Castaway Cay.
Is there an elephant?
There's an elephant on Castaway Cay.
Yeah, there's an elephant in Castaway. There's not one on Lighthouse.
No.
I was going to make a funny joke about it stealing peanuts. Anyway, the elephant in the room is
the walk and the transportation.
Yeah.
For Lookout Cay. Everyone's seen it. It's the giant. I can't think what it's called now.
Pier.
Thank you.
Giant 11-minute pier.
Yes.
So Disney didn't want to dredge a deep water berth right next to the island, so you have a really long pier so the boats can get up to it.
Yep.
We went in September, so it's real hot and humid.
Yeah.
I imagine if you went in a nicer period, April,
you
March,
need a breeze.
Then, the first time there was just a hurricane, so the first time there was a bit of a breeze and it was okay.
Yeah.
The second time there wasn't, and it was challenging. So, it's a long walk.
Yes.
It's okay.
It is a long walk.
The way there is okay.
Well, it's the fact it's not only is it just like you go to Castaway, there's a walk on Castaway.
Yeah, but there's also characters along the way and everything.
Yeah, there's characters along the way, there is a walk, but it's like once you walk, you're at the beach. You're at the family beach. It's a bit more of a walk for Serenity, but you're at the family beach.
Yes.
The difference is with Lookout Cay is you walk, then you have to get onto a tram.
It was travelling 6 minutes or something. It wasn't that long, was it?
It was long enough. It took us a bit to get there.
We did time it. I can't remember how long it was. I'll put the clip of any timing it in there. That's what we're looking at in here.
6 minutes. But it's a case of you then get there, then you need to get on a tram, and then you finally get to the beach.
Yeah.
So it takes a while. It's something that you need to be very considerate of when it comes to making sure that you're getting back in the ship on time.
Yeah. I think you're probably safe. They're not going to leave without you, but it's still...
You would hope.
You would hope. But it's still something to be considerate of.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if you've got things you want to get back for on the ship, then... or if you're planning, you have a line in the morning, you're planning to get out in time for something, for characters, etc., then it will take a little bit longer to get off the boat.
But yeah. But basically, I'm sure everyone else agrees, but Point goes to Castaway Cay, you don't have to make such a long journey to get to the beach.
I didn't know we were doing pointings. I don't know how to put little dings in the clip, so we'll just be like, ding! And then Lighthouse can be over here. I don't know, I might figure out how to do that, I'm not sure.
I mean, I was just going to kind of keep it in my head, but if you want to do that,
I don't know.
I want to see those editing skills.
Oh yeah,
you make that happen.
We'll see.
Okay, next point is food. We're going to talk about food.
Okay, food.
Well, I mean, for us, it's one of the big things.
It is quite
a big thing for us in general.
There's some new things at Lighthouse, which is quite exciting.
So Lighthouse definitely has a much bigger selection.
It has a much wider array of food.
Much wider array of food.
And some more sort of Caribbean-esque type dishes and things like that.
Which very much appreciated that there was new things added there. Like that they have proper like little plastic cups.
Oh yeah, they have real cups rather than paper cups, which are so much nicer to drink from.
Yes.
And they're also better for, the environment, etc., etc. But ultimately, they're just better to drink out of.
Yeah, so
plastic cups are horrible, and they make the drinks not taste good and things like that.
So I would say True True is probably a bit better than cookies.
Oh
You're
yeah.
also not getting any of this kind of smoke when you go up to cookies on Castaway and they're cooking everything, which is great because they're cooking it all fresh. You're getting a lot of smoke into you.
Yeah, so you have cookies and then Serenity Bay.
Too?
And cookies too, and then Serenity Bay on Castaway. And then on Lighthouse there's True 2, and Serenity Bay. So it's kind
barbecue.
of, they didn't have to think too far to
No.
come up with the same names. And so True and True 2 have pretty much the same thing. Serenity Bay on Lighthouse has basically the same food, but not as much options.
So there was a really good chicken sandwich that was at True True.
Yeah.
That was not at Serenity Bay. There was a couple of other bits and pieces that were at True True, again, not at Serenity Bay. Whereas on Castaway, you get all of the same things at Serenity Bay, but you also get steak.
And the steak's good.
Which the steak is very good.
Steak is really good.
Yeah.
And the food at Serenity Bay on Castaway is, even though it's the same stuff, it's still it's better than the stuff at cookies and cookies too, I think.
Most definitely. I will also link this in with the food in terms of being able to sit down and eat on Lookout. They have areas now where they just have these giant fans.
Yeah.
But they do still have a fly problem. Yeah,
there's a fly problem. It's not so bad. Like when the first people went there on day one, it looked horrendous. But it's still there.
Yeah.
But not as bad.
On Serenity, they have a band that plays on Serenity Beach, which is very nice when you're on the beach because you can hear the music, but when you're actually eating there, it's way too loud.
It's so loud you can't hear each other speak. It's just like the acoustics are all planned out wrong. And maybe when we went in September and it had been open since the start of the year. Ooh, we lost some light.
Oh no.
And we're back. The light went off.
You can see us again.
Hooray! What are we talking about? Flies. Food.
Yes. Areas to eat.
Oh, areas to eat. Yeah, it was really loud in Serenity Bay.
Yeah. Serenity Bay on Castaway, much nicer, calmer.
Yeah.
Very nice. And even on cookies, I would say, even though it can be busy, like anytime we've gone, we've always been able to find like a seat, and it's not been too much of an issue.
We do normally go at like 2 o'clock-ish when it's about to close. So, because we're running around doing other stuff.
So for me, I would say that would be another point to Castaway.
I think the food on at True True was a lot better than the food at Cookies. But the food at Serenity Bay on Castaway is a lot better than the food at Serenity Bay on Lighthouse. But all in all, I'm giving it to True True because that's the best food for me. I think it was good. And there's a lot of options. Most of it's cooked pretty well. And it was good.
All right,
I liked it a lot.
Next one is what I kind of deemed as entertainment. So this involves the character, meet and greets, any additional kind of fun activities that they have, and this just goes to Lighthouse immediately. There is no point.
Well, if you think about characters, there is actually not many meet and greets on Lighthouse. I mean, you've got Mickey, Minnie, Donald and Daisy.
Yeah.
And they're only out once.
And Pluto. And Chip and Dale go out as well.
Do they have a meet and greet?
We just didn't meet them.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I'll take it back then.
So the only one that you don't meet, like as a regular meet and greet, is Goofy.
Oh, okay. But they only have one go, and on Castaway there's a few options to meet them because they rotate a lot more. But they are only out in the morning, and then come the afternoon there's no characters.
The only thing is that on Castaway you have some who are at the
Post office.
Post office.
Yes.
That's it. All I could think of was mail. You have some that are at the post office, and then you have some that are just as you get to the Family Beach area. So there's quite a big walk.
There's a bit of looping,
there.
and then some at Mount Rushmore as well.
Yeah.
So we did that when we wanted to get everyone. We were like, you got to do the loop. So we ended up doing quite a bit.
And you have to go. You have to get there early because they only come out in the morning.
Yeah.
And if you want to get them done, it is a get out, get queuing, and then, as we say, do the lap.
We got all the characters, but it
Yeah.
was just character for a good 2 hours or something.
Whereas on Lookout, they are scheduled. You have one either side of True Barbecue.
Two, isn't it?
I think True. But you go to one, make sure that you get there early, and then just immediately go to the other one. And then they have a pause, and then the next one comes out. Unlike on Castaway, where it is like, this one starting at 11, this one 11:15, this one half 11. I'm saying 11, that's what I think it is, but I could be wrong. It's probably closer to 10.
It's earlier because you get off at like 8 and there's characters from the beginning. So.
Yeah, but it is doing it like every 15 minutes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Whereas they don't do that on Lookout, so you have a much better chance of getting everyone.
And we rope dropped Donald and Daisy, and there was nobody else there.
No.
And then when it came to Mickey and Minnie, because they were out around lunchtime, the queues were a lot bigger.
Yeah. And then on top of that, you also have some fun games that you can go to.
This is really good.
Yes. So on Lookout Cay, they have the Play Pavilion.
Yeah.
And you can go and you can hang out with some characters and play some games. So we had Goofy, Pluto, and Chip and Dale.
We did.
And you don't have a regular meet and greet with them, but you get to interact with them. You get to have lots of fun with them, play all these games. It's great. They're up, they're dancing.
Oh, it's so much fun.
So much fun.
Yeah, and getting involved.
And it is the only place that you will see Goofy.
And there are quite a lot of children playing, but don't let that stop you because we were straight in there. There was a couple of dads getting involved as well, which was good, but it was mostly just some small adults and then us being also small adults. So.
And then you also have the Junkanoo Parade.
Yeah.
So 2 characters will be there for the Junkanoo Parade. Yeah. You will either get Donald and Daisy or you will get Mickey and Minnie. They will come out, kind of perform a little bit with the band, and then they will parade back with the band.
Yeah.
They'll go up to kind of the central shopping area, and then you can basically stay there, have a bit of a dance with the band.
Which we did.
They'll get some photos afterwards.
Yeah.
So it does seem to be a lot more entertaining.
And that's on twice, isn't it?
Yes.
So, but that was good, the parade. It was fun. It was fun. I wouldn't rush back to do it again.
Well, it's very hot.
It's very, very hot. And there's not a lot of shade. You're standing directly in the sun for a little while. And then when you have your dance, when you go mental in the sun with us two and assistant cruise director David, then you get some sweat on.
Oh, yeah. But I think it's a definite, it goes to Lookout.
Oh, yeah, it has a lot more.
It has a lot more.
Castaway has more characters and things, and the characters are kind of on the way, which, I mean, is easy to get to, but also everyone then goes, oh, stop with the characters, so they are busier.
Yeah.
But there isn't any other entertainment on top of that.
No.
And just got a little notebook with points in it, so that's what we're working our way through.
Then we have the beach itself. They're both very pretty. Obviously, Disney is going for a very different thing with Lookout Cay. They're all about preservation. They're not trying to like overly manicure it or anything like that. Whereas Castaway Cay, I say it's their island, like they're renting the island, but they want it to be the perfect, island destination that you can have anywhere. So because of that, it is very manicured. So they have things like, they have netting so that no sea creatures can come through.
Yeah.
In terms of just in general, the waves are nowhere near as rough at Castaway as they are at Lighthouse.
Because there's a coral reef that comes across and protects it, so essentially you're in a bay in Castaway.
Yeah. In terms of Castaway, you just walk out, you're immediately on the beach. Yeah. Whereas with Lookout, it's all sandbanks.
Yes.
So you have to go over the sandbank to go down to the beach, which was fine on Serenity because they had loads of sun loungers. There is some sun loungers on the family beach, but not very many.
I think on the main family beach where most people were, there was quite a lot of loungers there as well. But then if you went over and behind, it was empty. So there was a lot of private spaces. No, not private, but there's just a lot of places that nobody was on Lighthouse.
So yeah, I could see that as being an issue for some people.
Yeah, I think it's just that they're using up all the space. So there will always be loungers, but they won't always be right next to the water, if that's what you want. I mean, I'm not really that fussed, so I don't mind that. But
you then also have the fact that Lighthouse is not yet finished. They do have a lot of foliage and things going. It is very pretty.
Oh, it's very, very pretty. And everyone talks about the water. The water is so...
It's gorgeous.
The colours of it is just lovely. And that colour.
Yeah.
Shimmering
it's beautiful.
seas.
Yes.
And then the beaches, and if you would go to the far end, the opposite end of Serenity, that's where all the pretty bits are. Where there's just palm trees and beaches and nobody's there. It's just lovely. That's definitely the place to go. Don't go to Serenity. Go the complete opposite way, all the way up to the end, and you'll have basically the beach to yourself.
Yeah.
And it's lovely. And it will get so much nicer. There's a lot of small palm trees and small plants that will grow up.
Yeah.
And it'll look very nice once it's all done. And there'll be more shade, which is also quite nice.
Yes. But yeah, in terms for me, I'm kind of like, I don't really know in terms of the beach. I think it's
I'm not too fussed by the beach. I think on going to Lighthouse again, and the second time we went to Lighthouse, the beach is definitely the afterthought. Because as you know, we've got the characters, the entertainment, the food, the bars, we've got fun drinks.
Yeah.
So, and I guess if you're a beach person, it's different. You want to get out on the beach. So I'd say you get more privacy on Lighthouse because the beach is so long. Serenity Beach on Castaway is much nicer than Serenity Beach on
That was my
Lighthouse.
next topic.
Oh, ignore that. That's for the next one. So the overall beach, I mean, I think Castaway just looks nicer, doesn't it?
It's more finished.
It's more finished. You can see the ship. You can get your pictures with the ship because you're the opposite side on Lighthouse where you can't see it. And it is more that iconic type.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Castaway Cay, isn't it? That's what the cruise line's all about.
Yeah. I would vote Castaway Cay too. I think that's just my little bit of bias though.
Yeah. But I don't really care about going onto the beach or into the water, so it's kind of it's a cow's opinion. It's a moot point.
Now we move on to Serenity. So we've already touched on bits of it already. Food goes to Serenity Bay on Castaway Cay for sure.
Much better.
I think so. The whole thing with Lookout Cay is that it's all just one big beach.
Yes.
So there's like an invisible divide as to what's family and what's Serenity. Whereas on Castaway, it's completely away.
Yeah.
And because of that, it is much quieter, we found anyway. It is calmer. The only thing is that Castaway Cay isn't very deep in terms of the water. You can kind of just go in and just kind of sit. You can't really swim, whereas you can on Lookout.
Yeah, it's much deeper and there's more waves and you can play in the water. So if you want to go and have a play, then Lookout's better for that.
Yeah.
But it's because it's an invisible barrier. It's not like there's loads of children on the beach.
Yeah.
But you can hear them all, and so if you want a quiet space, that's not going to be the same.
No.
And because you don't on Lighthouse, you just walk there, and on Castaway you have to take the tram. So pretty much every adult who gets off the boat and turns left and goes to Lighthouse.
Yeah.
And it's quite busy.
Yeah.
Lighthouse, sorry, it goes to Serenity. It's quite busy, but on Castaway, not everyone gets that tram. Not even people don't know that you can get the tram.
Yeah.
And also, if you've got kids and you want to just sit a bit away from them, which you could do on.
You could do on Lookout. You could technically be at Serenity Bay and still be able to keep an eye on your kids.
Yeah, a little bit. But you can't really do that on Castaway. So
which could be good for families. Just obviously, our family is a bit different.
Yeah. So Serenity Bay on Castaway is a lot better. So also the bars weren't really ready. They were coming out offering drinks, and then they were like, "Well, actually, this menu that we've given you we don't serve those drinks."
Yeah.
And then they were like, "Well, we don't know if we can make that." And then they may give us the drinks in the really small cups.
Yeah.
Which meant they got really hot really quickly. It was super hot.
Yeah.
My watch stopped working.
Yeah.
Because it was so hot. But you want the bigger drinks and you want a ram full of ice. So we went and got more ice and everything, and it was fine, but it just felt like that area was sort of ignored a bit. They focused on the family beach, which is probably the right thing to do, and then Serenity Bay was the kind of the afterthought that they hadn't finished yet.
Yeah, exactly.
But even when we went to the bar on the far end of the other side, there was nobody there, and the guys working there were top notch. They knew exactly what they were doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we think Lighthouse is not as good as Castaway for Serenity Bay, so
no.
Dink.
Definitely for Castaway.
Yeah.
I then have a note of like Disney touches.
All right.
So this is a case of, in my opinion, if you were to go onto either of these beaches, would you know that they were Disney? What has set them aside that makes them Disney that makes you go, oh yes, clearly these are the Disney touches to make it that bit more magical.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, this obviously goes to Castaway Cay.
Why is that, Inya?
Because Lookout is beautiful, but you don't know it's Disney when you get off. They have the whole thing of like, they have Lizzie the lizard, and Shelley the crab.
Shelley the crab.
Shelley the crab.
And then someone else.
And you have
backstory there.
Yeah, you have that, and you listen to them over the tramway, and you're like, okay, don't know who these are. You don't know that they're Disney.
No.
You go on, like, apart from the fact that it says Disney Tings on the merchandise shop.
Yeah, the shop's called Disney Tings.
It says Disney Tings. You have the Junkanoo inspired character kind of areas that you can stand and get pictures at. But they're not overtly obvious. It's only that you know that they are meant to be the characters. Do you kind of get them? I
didn't realise for ages, because then you were like pointing out and I don't know what you're talking about. And then you're like, oh yeah, they are. They're, you know, they're bounding as characters. They're not actual characters. So yeah.
You have Sebastian's Cove, which is the area for younger kids.
Yeah.
Which that is very well themed.
That looks very good.
That looks really good.
Yeah, we weren't allowed in there because we're not accompanied by a child.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like pterodactyl flyers all over again.
Yeah. But it's kind of that. It's like once you move away, there's like once you kind of move away from that central area, there isn't really anything else that's very Disney apart from the fact that you see characters.
And you don't see many of them.
No. Difference is that as soon as you get onto Castaway, you have all of these signs everywhere that it's like Bob Iger, Master Shipbuilder.
Yeah.
You have Mount Rustmore.
Yeah.
You have like Scuttle's Cove. You obviously have the snorkel area, that the whole reason everyone wants to go snorkeling is because it has those magical Disney buried treasures under there, where they have an elephant. they have one of the Dumbo rides down there.
It's so difficult. I mean, I sink, right? So it's so much effort to move around. It was good. And we should do it again, but it's so hard.
It is, but the reason you want to do it is because you want to see these Disney things.
Because you're like, alright, I need to see another thing, I need to see another thing, and you take your underwater pictures, and then everyone's like, oh, I really want to go there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You go to Serenity Bay, and they have the airplane at the front of it that's got Donald Duck on it.
Yeah.
So there's just so many things that make you go, oh yeah, this is Disney's island.
And when you walk off the boat, you get off, and then the first thing you're greeted with is a character at post office. Before that,
because usually you'll have Captain Jack.
Well, he's just after that, I was going to say. Is he before?
No, is he not before the post office?
I thought he was just after it.
No, I think he's
beside the cannonballs.
Well, either way, you have one that's very close to the ship.
Or sometimes as well, you have the characters taking their little cars, driving around the place, and the cast members, and you can speak to the cast members and say good morning and things, and they'll become friends with you and say it back.
All the buggies are done up. All of them have license plates named after sea-inspired Disney characters. You can see the ship from
everywhere.
Anywhere.
And on your walk to it, it's characters, and then it just, there's a much more Disney feel and Disney vibe everywhere. And it's also iconic. Castaway Club, Castaway Cay. It's where everyone on the cruise wants to go.
Exactly. So, sorry Lookout, but Castaway hasn't hands down. Last thing that we have to discuss. There's obviously other things, but they don't exactly relate to us. So, the kids club, the kids kind of splashed area, I don't know what it's called, the like obstacle course out on Castaway Cay.
Yeah, it's got a slide thing on it and stuff like that.
They obviously don't really relate to us.
We're not keen on those, we don't have children. But I think if you went with kids, Sebastian's Cove looks really cool.
It does.
There's a lot of fun stuff there that looks like it would be... Yeah, your kids would be like, I want to go back on there.
So there's Sebastian's Cove, and then there's the splash
pad thing as well, which looks really good. Yeah.
So there's both.
And I think because they're quite close to everything. Are they close? No, the other one's a bit further away.
Yeah.
The splash pad thing.
Yeah, so there's the splash pad thing. It's like I think you go in, you go to the left and it's there. And then you go to the right and that's where the Play Pavilion is. And then Sebastian's Cove. So in terms of for kids, probably Lookout has more.
I would say so, yeah. They probably want to go back there over Castaway.
But for us, that obviously doesn't relate.
No.
So we can't give a valid enough opinion on that.
So if you have children, you need to go to both yourselves and compare them, and then let us know, and then we'll say it on the next video.
Yes.
We wouldn't fund you to do that.
No.
Just do it yourself.
So the final thing that we have mentioned of is the time that you have on the beach.
Yeah.
And in regards to this, it's that the arrival time or the docking time for Lighthouse is much later than it is for Castaway.
It's a bit further away, so it takes longer to get there.
So the thing that you would be like, well, what makes that a big deal?
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. You don't get off until much later.
10:15.
Which means that by the time you go, you walk across the pier, you get on the tram, you get across there and start to get situated, you're already heading into the midday sun.
Yeah, I mean, 10:15 is the time we meant to arrive. We got off like 50 minutes early one day.
Yeah.
But then if you think it still takes you half an hour to get there,
yeah,
you're not really arriving there until 11ish, where it's getting pretty hot. And
then that's it. It's like you're arriving there at 11, and then the characters are usually coming out like...
I think they might have been at 11 that Donald and that came out.
They could have been, but they're generally meeting during the midday time.
They are, yeah.
So you're out, you're standing waiting for them. There's no shade.
Not at the moment,
where you're standing and waiting for them. Unlike on Castaway, you get in much earlier.
Yeah, I think it's 8:15, isn't it? You don't get off that.
You're then going across, you're then getting to the characters earlier. You are then doing all of that in a nice time of the day where you're not dying waiting for them. You then go, you get your spot, and generally you're kind of like, by 2-3 o'clock, you're like, I've had a really good day here.
Yeah.
I've had lots of time. I've had time to go see everything. I've had time to have food. I've had time to relax. It's great. When we were at Lookout, even though we weren't needing to get back until I think like 5:30 or something.
I think it's closer to 6 or after 6 where the all aboard time is. I think it's the same amount of time you get on both islands, because Castaway Cay is like 3:45 or 4:45 or something. But then that's the thing as well, if you lose those 2 hours in the morning, but you gain them on the island in the evening, but there's also other stuff going on in the ship in the evening. So it's then, what do you miss out on because you've chosen to spend the time on the island? And I guess because, like I said, we went in September and it's super hot, super humid. If you went at a nicer time of the year, then it might be okay, but you would still lose those 2 hours later, which could be Pirate Night or Halloween, or if it's a Pixar cruise, could be Pixar stuff, or it could be anything planned for those nights.
Yeah.
Or even dinner, if you're on an early dining rotation and there's a place you really want to go.
Yeah.
You have to leave the island early to make sure you get there.
But like the first time that we did Castaway, we did it in September as well.
Yeah.
And we were some of the last. Yeah, but we were some of the last. We
were the last.
Leaving.
Some of the last people came back.
And it was that we had a really good day. We had a really good chill. It wasn't that we were like, it's too hot, we need to go. And then you're like, I can't cope with this. This is too hot. And then you have to get the whole way back again.
Well, that's where
in the sun.
Yeah,
and in the heat.
That is the thing. Oh, bring an umbrella.
Yes.
That was one of the things. We saw 2 cast members walking umbrellas, and I was like, oh, that's a top tip. I'm going to have to put that in a top tip video.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't think that at the time, so I didn't know we were making a top tip video, but I thought that was a top tip. So here's a top tip from us, from 2 cast members, top tip. Top tip, it's a tip from the top. There is little shuttle buggies that go back and forth.
Yeah, but you have to stand and wait.
In the sun.
In the sun.
There's a long queue. And in the time it took us to walk along, only one of them passed us.
Yeah.
So actually, I think it would have taken way longer.
Yeah.
So if your legs don't work, or you're really, really tired and you just sit down or whatever, then fine. Yeah. But I think otherwise, you're probably quicker walking.
Yeah.
Oh, and Enya's top tip, wear shorts, because...
Oh God, yeah, don't be wearing a dress. Chub rub, not good.
That rub.
Yeah.
And even swimming shorts. I wore swimming shorts the first day, and then the next one I was like, I'm just going to wear normal shorts and get changed when I get across there.
Yeah, and comfy shoes. Flip-flops, I don't think are it for that.
You wore flip-flops, we're fine. I like flip-flops.
Yeah, but they were getting a bit rubby at the end.
Oh, okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But you're not. No high heels, no... don't know. Hiking boots.
There you go. So in that regard, again, I think it's point to Castaway Cay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. But much better to get there earlier. So I don't know, and you said she was going to count in her head. I don't know if she has.
I don't know. There's been pauses, but I already know that Castaway's won. We've said Castaway way too many times, more than Lighthouse.
In your heart, which one do you prefer? She's a Lighthouse girl. I feel
I'm a Lighthouse girl.
She's a Castaway girl. I said the wrong one. Castaway Cay. And also, I think the best one is... No. I'm going for Castaway Cay as well.
There you go.
Because it feels like a Disney cruise.
It does.
And that might be because we've been there quite a few times. And we've had a lot of very magical experiences there. I do think the Play Pavilion with the characters and...
It's great.
That's one of the best things I've probably done on the Disney cruise. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
But all in all, and the food's a big thing for us. Lighthouse, definitely much better than the food.
Yeah.
But all in all, for the feels, I would pick Castaway Cay to get married on. Do you think we should do that?
I think maybe we should.
Oh, maybe we should do that. Maybe that leads us on to some other videos that we might talk about. Maybe we are going to get married on Castaway Cay, which we've already announced. And we're going to tell you all about it, because I have not looked through any of it, and we have a load of things to pick out on what we're going to do. So we have to pick out like our cake flavour, our flowers, something else. I'm sure there's other things to pick out. So we'll let you know what they are in a series of videos coming between now and April next year, because that's when we're getting married.
That's it. That's all the things that we need to do. Alright, so with this, Castaway wins.
Castaway Cay.
Castaway Cay. Oh yeah.
But on our wedding cruise we're going to both. So...
Good photos.
Yep. Alright, we'll leave it there, because otherwise we'll go on forever.
True that.
Okay. And we'll see you in the next video, whatever that may be.
Bye bye!
Toodaloo!